Situation Report, American Front, August 1938. Generalstabsstefan. Our armed forces have broken through enemy militia lines who have no countermeasures against our fast tanks. Minneapolis has fallen, 4th Mechanized has been halted after rapid advances for refit and rearm. Meanwhile, 3rd and 5th are clearing out remnants of resistance in North Minnesota. Next strategic objective is to advance against the enemy capital Chicago and attempt a decapitation strike on their civil and military leadership. Situation Report, Chinese Front, August 1938. General Casagrande. Attempts of breaking through to trapped Qing divisions have been futile. Engagements with Japanese regulars have shown their vast superiority in combat efficiency compared to Chinese militia troops. Front lines are static for the time being, returning to attempts at breaking Japanese-held fortifications, and then use momentum to push forward towards strategic goal of taking the important city of Chengde. Strategic Situation, Europe, August 1938. Field Marshal Wrangel. Worrying changes in the Italian Civil War have seen the Socialist Republic gaining ground rapidly in recent weeks. Recommend sending troops in support of the Republic in the north. Mountain divisions preferred. Preserve tank forces for potential conflict in Finland. Foreign policy necessity to expand influence in Eastern Europe against both Reichspakt and Third International to maintain strategic balance of power in the long term. There are a few strategic imperatives that we have to do. The main ones are we're going to have to fix the supply situation along the front lines. We'll probably have to fortify the front lines as well. We have to use our foreign policy to potentially expand the front lines. And we have to work on our government, because right now we have a very small number of political advisors, and they have just gotten a lot cheaper due to Kirill now being very popular in people coming around to the idea of the Tsar being a good thing. So that there are a few very powerful political advisors that we can get, and they are somewhat cheaper, but we do obviously need the political power, and we are working our way through the stranglehold of German capital. We have queued up more factories with a higher focus on military factories, interspersed with infrastructure, and but we do still have to build up our civilian factories, and we will see how that goes. Not sure still how the German economic influence factors into this. I'm not sure. It could be the trade exports, because we're not actually importing anything. So it's probably that number. So that could be. This is trade exports from our side. No, this is plastics factories. Yeah. So I'm still not sure where the German, somebody mentioned it, but I couldn't find it. So I'm still not sure where the German factories factor in. But in either way, we have to reduce the stranglehold of German capital. So this takes priority. But if we can manage to bring some political advisors in, that would be great. We are pressuring Finland, and we'll see what Finland says. So we do have to be somewhat ready for a potential intervention in Finland. Right now we have a few small cavalry divisions stationed, which are probably not terrible for the task, because they're relatively quick. They're low on the need for supply. But we might need a few more just to hold the lines in the north near Murmansk. So I'll probably divert just a few infantry divisions that we've got currently standing around near the front lines. We'll probably take some from Novgorod here, to be fair. These are just regular infantry divisions. Maybe these 7 here, and we'll put them at a line north near Murmansk. So let's get these moved. Just to have some troops available. The supply situation here is actually not completely terrible. So we can probably begin, given that we are starting to see troubles, we can probably begin organizing this a little better. In fact, I'll organize it as proper front lines, and then I'll get back to this. Okay, this is actually new. I wasn't aware of this. The north of Finland is actually impassable terrain at this point. Good, because this was an absolute drag to fight my way through this. I still remember the Baltic Unitary State disaster save when I had to fight my way through Finland and Sweden and make my way all the way down to Oslo. That took some doing. So we do have some tank divisions here in Petrograd, and they should be able to deal with anything on the south. We do have some infantry to back them up if necessary. We'll get the cavalry on the front lines, and we'll actually get another 7 infantry divisions ready here in the north to cut through if necessary, and push into Finland if it comes to that. This is a potentiality. We will see. How is the air situation? We actually do have an airport here, so let's see what we've got. That's a fighter wing. I'm not sure if the Finns actually have any air force. Let's see if we can find that out. They have no, they don't have any. So the fighters are actually technically not necessary. We'll bring them anyway in case somebody supports them. But close air support is probably. Yeah, we actually don't have. We'll bring the close air support along, but I don't think we're actually producing any close air wings at this stage. What else do we have? We've got another fighter wing. It's another fighter wing. Yeah, we really do need to improve the overall air force, because a lot of it is well, that is the lot of it. So I may as well just bring whatever we have. And this fighter division actually needs to train. So let's get them to train. These guys are not yet going to be assigned. This is probably still from one of the civil wars, and but everybody is pretty much trained up. So let's concentrate what air force we have. That's a fighter wing as well. Let's concentrate what air force we have in the north, just in case it comes to blows and we need it. But we are in urgent need of creating new air wings. So we've got a few close air support planes that are somewhat newer, but currently production is on hold. So we'll get a secondary fighter wing here that can just go and train. And we are pretty good on fuel. So that's all working out. All right, so much for the reorganization, and we will see what else happens here. But we are definitely going to need a lot more troops than we currently have. We do have a fair amount of regular infantry, but it's basically 3 armies, and that is not enough. So we are definitely going to be needing more. How many are we training right now? 8. Let's make that actually 24. I would like to have a full infantry army created, and we will eventually start production of heavier equipment, but for now infantry is what we've got to work with. All right, back to the other positions. So here this has been a failure, so we'll just get back here for now and see if we can find an opportunity to push the Japanese out and potentially get through north. Here we are clearing that up, so we can send some troops to Italy. I think the Indonesian volunteers have returned, though I'm not sure. There they are. All right, let's see if we can send volunteers to the Italian Republic. We could send 1 here. We could send to the 2 Sicilies potentially. We could send 2, yeah. So we'll send 2 to the 2 Sicilies, and we'll make our way. Actually, I'm not sure. Do we have to send to the Papals? We could send 4 all in all, but then they'd be in disparate armies. The question is, do we prefer the 2 Sicilies or the Italian Republic to win? The Republic, social conservative, and Giovanni Gronchi, and we've got the 2 Sicilies under Ferdinando III. So not really any preference towards either of them. Just the fact that we can send 2 divisions south. Pressuring the Italians from the south is probably the better way of doing it than fighting on the. This is going to be difficult terrain. So pushing in through from the south is probably the better way to do it. All right, I'm going to set that up, send the volunteers, and then we'll get involved in the Italian Civil War just to make sure that the Third International doesn't spread its tendrils any further. Because while we have cleared them and set them up as a as an arc against the Reichspakt from the west. It's we don't want him to get too far and create a sort of new axis here if that happens. And Drozdowski is going to get the camouflage expert trait, because we might be having to fight under enemy aerial superiority quite a bit. Which reminds me, we are also in need to set up our army command, but right now there's not really an awful lot we can do in terms of we'll assign some more things, but for now this is going to become the Italian Expeditionary Force, and we shall send them to the two Sicilies. I'm not sure we can actually bring any air along, but if we can, then I will do that. So these will be sent. And then we'll see, because I'm not sure that the Northern Force is still going to actually be in existence by the time we get there. So I'd rather send them to the south, which is a bit more promising. All right, China is relatively quiet, so we are going to just observe the north here, and then see what we can see that we can make the push towards Chicago. Because if we are getting involved in Finland, then again these troops are probably not going to be around for that. So we can already, where are the supply lines here? Okay, for Minneapolis, we'll probably do a two-pronged assault towards Milwaukee and then Chicago. So we're going to set the front lines up accordingly, and the northern half will be there. All right. And yeah, just waiting for these troops here to finish up. They're just dealing with some in the swamp, and they still have absolutely no way of dealing with the divisions. This is not a good terrain for the tanks, but we will deal with it as it goes. All right, we've got 47 days until the next, and that's enough to gather the political power for another 50 point until we get the next thing, but as usual, this game tends to throw things in my way, and the two Sicilies accept the volunteers. Do we have air access? That might actually doesn't look like, but we will see. We might send a fighter wing or something there if that becomes an issue. So for now, we'll just fight our way through here, and in fact, we don't even need to wait for. We should wait for the other two, but to be honest, we could probably even begin just with the fourth. But yeah, no, we'll wait for the other two to finish up the job in the north, and then we will join and use the combined force. Meanwhile, there are slight counterattacks here, but these militia troops, the Red Guards, they're not going to get anywhere. So for now, we'll just defend against these counterattacks, and then we will make our way further. And here in China, we have to rebuild our planning. Yeah, breaking this is going to be extremely difficult. So we'll rebuild that. And we actually have, I think, enough army experience for a doctrinal. We still have to do the Spirit of Division. I am tempted to go for static warfare, simply because, but we do have some interesting choices here that we could use otherwise. Static defense in the onset of the war tends to be a pretty good one. We still also have to actually do the Air Force Command. So given that we're going to have to do a fair few research, I am thinking of. We could do the branch independent spirit just for the Air Force experience gain, but that's going to take a while until it's getting back. We've got the dive bombing here. That's for airframes. Usually air experience is not in short supply, so industry liaisons would be good if we are doing any aircraft research, which we're not currently. So I'm going to leave this open for now, but we can take another doctrine. I really dislike spending the army experience on this for now, though, because we don't have a theorist yet. But in order to get the theorist, we have to do one of these focuses, because we have to choose a side here, and I think Science of Victory is more in line with what I'm thinking here. So that's another 30-day focus that needs to happen, which gives us a cost reduction and gives us the theorist. The problem, as usual, is the lack of political power. So We might bank it for now and see that we can get the theorist before we are expending more on that. And yeah, the spirit right now is not that important because we are on the offensive in most places. So that's that. All right, China troops are still in place. And we are making, I think, rapid breakthroughs here in the swamps. And then we'll finish off the last remaining divisions there. Okay, it's just one that's left. And yeah, they're getting degraded very rapidly, so that should be that. And then we are looking at there's a French infantry division here, which is rather okay. I'm going to get both divisions on this. A French infantry division which was rather powerful, but let's see if we can launch the assault regardless. Yeah, that's it's the experience, really. Experience, entrenchment, all kinds of bonuses. These guys, and they're not getting the encirclement, unfortunately, because apparently they can flee to Canada if they so desire. So this is actually going to be pretty difficult to break, but we'll give it a try, because we can't leave 6 divisions behind. So that needs to happen. Meanwhile, we can make some demands to Finland. While unremarkable and poor, poses a grave threat to our northern flank against Germany. The Karelian Isthmus offers the perfect springboard for German invasion of Petrograd. Yay, this one. One can shell the city without ever leaving Finland. For this reason, it is of utmost importance to neutralize the threat of Finland. The first option would be the diplomatic one. Demand anti-German neutrality from Finland and promise to respect their sovereignty, a relationship that could later become a proper alliance. The other option is to drop the pretext and demand territorial concessions in the Karelian Isthmus to ensure that the Finns cannot threaten Petrograd, even if they wanted to. We should start moving forces to the Finnish border to bolster our demands, and if the negotiations go sour, exchange the quill for a sword. We have moved forces to the border of Finland. So we get 2 choices. We can demand, I still don't know where I can see the actual value for the power projection. I have no clue where that is. I haven't seen it anywhere. I would have assumed it's up here somewhere, but I do not know what my current value of power projection actually is, unless it is somewhere. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, it's here. So right now we have 0 power projection. So we could spend apparently 5 power projection to demand territorial concessions, which would be the safest option, really. Or we demand that Finland becomes neutral, and then potentially we can make an alliance with Finland, which I think is the better option, honestly, because we're not looking for territorial expansion, but at the same time, Petrograd is directly threatened, so there can be no Finnish joining of the Reichspakt. That would be an immediate cause for war. That said, we will for now demand pro-Russian neutrality, and we will see how that. Who's in government at Finland right now? It's a national populist. Kurt Matti Wallenius, and we will see. Yeah, the national populists seem to be. They're not particularly friendly to us, so they seem to be pretty firm in power. So even if we demand neutrality, it becomes a paper promise relatively quickly, but we still have the option of potentially invading Finland, whereas our standing in the world and in Europe is definitely going to be damaged if we are immediately just demanding them to hand over parts of their territory, which they will probably reject, and then we go straight out to war. So for now, we shall demand pro-Russian neutrality, and we will see how the Finns react to this. All right, back to the States, and here we are. It'd be lovely if somebody could join us in this attempt at rooting out the last remaining forces here. But I think the 25th Infantry Division here is not going to last too long. And yes, the big red one has joined. They're very much out of supply, so these are going to be wound down relatively quickly. So if we can concentrate the fire on these, and we've got 2 more reserve divisions coming in. They should be reduced reasonably quickly in the last battle here. One of our tank divisions has, the third has been exhausted from the attack, but the fifth is still engaged. Third is diverting west for a different angle at the enemy positions. They're still holding strong, but I think once the 25th infantry is going, yes, and it's gone, so I think from there on out they're not going to be. Which means we can already move the third to the front lines, and we are almost, yep, that's one more, and that's the last one. There we go. Okay, so we can move all tank divisions south for the next assault, and we can plan that against Chicago directly. So once the tank divisions are in place along the lines, then we'll be pushing towards Milwaukee and then Chicago. In China, troops have arrived and are almost complete planning the next assault. The problem is obviously that the Japanese have massive defenses here and standing fortifications. So we'll just defend for now along the lines, and yeah, this has not been good for China. But the Italian divisions have arrived, so let's have a quick look at these. Obviously, we do need a field marshal, so on Boldyrev it is, and we are going to start engaging Italian troops immediately. So let's plan out where we are going from here. We are holding Latium and Ancona in the east. First target would obviously be the northern flank is not that interesting, but Florence would be an interesting target. So this is hilly terrain, which is ideal for the mountain divisions. So I think what we'll do is we will concentrate. We'll concentrate here. In fact, we probably can't move there for now yet. Yeah, can we actually move them there because they are, or do we have to push through here? I think we might have to push through here because that's the only point of contact we have with the socialists, because we didn't send them to the Papal States because that would have been only one. So yeah, we can't send them there. It would have been ideal, but we'll send them there instead. And the target is to take the Florence-Ravenna line. Let's get the divisions in place, and then we'll try to push our way through the Umbrian hills once everybody is in place. Air-wise, yeah, once again we have no option of actually getting our own air force engaged, but we will see. We will see what's going to happen in Finland. Do we have enough troops in Finland? Probably. We don't know much about their army, but they do have a fair amount of divisions, probably one field army worth. So we might need a few more if it comes to blows. But we do have some infantry in reserve if it comes to that. All right, and yes, we can actually probably get these troops, give these troops at least a potential offensive line. And the same goes for the 6th Army, which currently doesn't have anybody in command. So let's see if we have one of our tank commanders who's not engaged abroad. I don't think we do, actually. Do we have somebody secondary who is Popov? He is an armor officer. But alternatively, we could send Ungarn Sternberg. That might not be terrible. He is a cavalry officer, so he's at least got some idea about this. Let's see if we got anybody else who's somewhat even coordinated in that. No, not really. No, not really. Yeah, well, we'll get General Popov actually onto this, and we'll get him positioned under Wrangel, which means that we'll just split off troops that aren't directly involved for now, and we give these guys the task to move on Helsinki if it comes to executing Operacja Neva. We'll see if that becomes an issue, but for now, let's get back to the States, where we are moving in, and the Italians need their own control group. There we go. All right. Troops moving towards the front line. We'll see if we can break through here, but that's going to be an interesting fight. And then I'm not going to start sending any more troops. Oh, we're actually losing ground here. So they are now making their way towards Rome, which means we've just come in place, just come in time here. I think Rome is pretty much open at this point as well. So we will see if we can assist at least with the operations. All right, tank divisions are coming into place, where we are currently facing, in time as well, because we're currently facing furious enemy counterattacks against Doolittle's troops that are trying to hold the southern flank here. So let's, we're joining the fray, and then we will see if we can. Wisconsin's probably a good target to break through and then drive along, but we also want to take the hills. It's weakly defended, so it should be relatively easy. All right, Italy, troops are in place, but obviously facing a massive enemy force, including 2 British divisions. Let's begin a little probing attack and see how bad this actually is. And the French, there's a French and a British division engaged. So we'll see if we can lend some firepower. But I think that's not alone. So we'll go back on the defense. We'll start planning. We'll start planning first. We'll start planning this out first, and then we'll see about that. All right. In the Pacific states, still counterattacks, still attacks from the syndicalist militia, quite furious attacks. But we can counterattack and then begin spreading eastwards, and we'll do the same with the 3rd and 5th in the south to capture the railway lines. And with that, the Russo-Finnish Treaty of Friendship of Cooperation has been signed. Okay, so the threat has apparently worked, and maybe also just the diplomatic overture of saying this isn't the same Russian Empire anymore. We're not looking for conquest, we're looking for mutual security. Signing the agreement of friendship, cooperation and mutual assistance with Finland was a clear propaganda victory for Kirill's government. While the language used in the treaty was purposefully rosy, with our assurances to respect Finnish sovereignty and neutrality, the real achievement was clear. Finland was barred from allying with Germany, and this was enforced by our rights to utilize Finnish soil to defend Petrograd against any foreign threats. Okay, so we actually have rights on the ground. If anybody should try to land in Finland, then we have rights to use Finnish territory. Additionally, a number of smaller islands in the Finnish Gulf were leased to us, and the economic appendix, including easing restrictions on trade. Hopefully we can persuade the Finns to accept an even closer alliance in the future. Right, nice. So market liberalism improved. We get the Russo-Finnish Treaty of Friendship and Cooperation, 5 stability, -5 war support. Okay. And we are guaranteeing the independence of Finland, and we have military access. Great. So that worked, and I'd say that has been a good start. So we can immediately bring the 3rd Army troops back south because they are no longer needed in the area, and the rest can stay on the border for now. And that gets us back to China, where we have full planning, but we'll try to once again join the fight here, see if that's getting us anywhere. But against these dug-in Japanese troops, this is going to be almost hopeless. I think we'll have a shot. The fortification is less than ideal, so obviously friendly divisions have neglected to join. So we'll hold that once more. And we'll try to launch another assault in a more coordinated manner. All right. Here we are breaking through, and we do need to ensure that we're not getting cut off. So no further advances at this point. And instead, we're now going to attack. We're now going to attack in the south, expand the strategic depth, and cut these troops off and move along, and then we can move along in the north as well, while we're letting the Pacific States militias backfilling the positions. All right, given that we are now engaging, I think we can just simply already expand the positions in the north. There are troops backfilling, so we can move forward with the tanks. In Sicily, we are working on getting the plans completed, but that is going to be a tall order to break this line, I feel. If the Papal States should fall, then we can make ourselves useful there. But other than that, we're going to have to try and somehow breach the lines here. That is going to be a very difficult objective. Chinese volunteers have completed their planning. So once again, we'll try to join, and we can see if we can reinforce the assault here. And see, they seem to be running relatively low on supplies, which is advantageous. But we'll see if we can manage any breakthrough there. All right, in the north, we are making advances, but we are outrunning our supply. So pushing towards Milwaukee is going to become critical relatively soon, but we do need the other two armored divisions breaking through in the south against the 5th Michigan Red Guard. It should not be a massive problem. We should be able to wear these down relatively quickly, and then once we've capitalized on that, then we can continue the advances. Meanwhile, we have 1938 machine guns and 50mm grenade launchers completed, which is great. So that was one of the infantry upgrades. This is still ahead of time, but barely. These are still a bit ahead of time. We're already doing the improved armor protection. Skipping the mediums this time around. This is still ahead of time, so we might be able to throw in another. This is still fairly ahead of time, still 450 days. We might throw in another research on the synthetic refineries, simply because we are going to need rubber, and rubber trade is going to dry up very quickly once things. I'll throw one in. Once things happen. All right, so we've got the infantry equipment designer, which we're using that for the rifles. That's where it got it from. All right, so we did the experimental anti-vehicle mines, but it's mutually exclusive with the reliability bonus. So we've got another one here for 5% breakthrough, or the experimental semi-automatic rifles. Now, these are not quite as useful as I initially thought, because people in comments said they're extremely powerful, and I agree, they are. Because they boost these medals, and they are valuable later on. Let me put it that way. We do have another 5% breakthrough here, however, and 5% reliability. So I'm going to go with a medal. Then once we've worked our way through towards the bottom, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So at 10, which is going to take a while, then we can start using the funds for other things. So we don't have the size yet. We could try to put but interestingly enough, we could put the dedicated experimental research centers onto this, which doesn't cost political power. Okay, so I do actually have to keep an eye on the policies as well now, because no, it does 25. Why is this available and this is not? Oh, this is the size bound. Okay, so this does still cost political power. This will this automatically grants medals. Okay, that's useful. So this is an auto medal thing. That might be really, really useful, but we're not spending 25 political power right now. We do have could get speed out of it, which doesn't really help us. 10% funds gain, production. So we can either just use the funds, but this might actually be really useful, or this might be useful early on to automatically grant the medal, but I don't want to spend the 25 political power on it. All right, something we do have to keep an eye on. Do we need to upgrade the rifles for that? We do actually. Not going to do it on these because we're relatively close to the next level of infantry equipment. We do have a few older rifles that can be converted, and factories are going to be so necessary. We also have to get off early mobilization, but again, scarcity of political power is the big problem here. Right, the assault in China, by the looks of it, yeah, this is going to get us nowhere. We're never breaking this. Look at this. These are so well, yeah, they're so well fortified. So we're not breaking this. There's no way we're breaking this. We may instead just relocate. I don't think we'll ever break this. So let's relocate and stop banging our heads against fortified positions and see if we can make our way in a counterattack through the area here. The big problem obviously is as well that we're fighting under red air because we have no aircraft. The mountain divisions, who's in control of the mountain divisions? Casagrande, he does not have the camo expert because he doesn't have commando. That would have been useful, but oh well, it is what it is. Right, so that's extremely difficult. We'll want to see where we get with that. And in Sicily, we can't really. There is an attack ongoing. We're still going to wait until both divisions are fully planned out. So stay on the states for now, stateside, and a peace deal. Oh, that's the West Indies Federation. Okay, never mind those. How is it looking in India actually? Before we continue there, Commune is getting pushed back, so they're both making progress, which I'm all right with. I don't have there's no good outcome for our side. So let's see. Tanks almost through. The 4th and the 5th and the 3rd. They keep reinforcing the lines here, and we will support with the 4th from the north once we have made, because we have to make our way across the rivers here, which is taking bridges is always difficult, and we are getting counterattacked quite frequently in the north as well. Hopefully the supply situation gets a little better once we have made our way through the through the position in Minnesota here. And I think once the defense is... Nope, they've reinforced again. Okay, I think the defense has been cleared, and that means the tank divisions can concentrate on dealing with the 5th Michigan. We do have some infantry backfill now, but which means we could potentially try to push on, or we could try already to take, and I think that's the better choice here, we could try to already clear the east bank of the river against the exhausted Virginia Red Guard. I think that's the better use of our armor. And then we'll make our way through here, but they keep reinforcing, unfortunately, while we are trying. We can't push them out fast enough while they keep reinforcing. But at least this way, we've already cleared the positions, and the tanks can simply roll across the rivers once we're there, and then we are pretty much in open country towards Milwaukee, which then also collapses the northern half of the front there, which is great. All right, Chinese volunteers are completely planned. Where could we push? We could try. There's 3 Japanese cavalry divisions in the north, which isn't great. We could try to retake the port, but I feel like pushing towards Chengde would be throwing a spanner in the works. But I don't think we can take on. These are pure infantry divisions, however. And we do have some artillery by now. The problem is the air force. We can't attack here because that's a fortification. There's no way we're breaking that, not with infantry. These guys, unfortunately, are dug in as well. We'll do a probing attack, but I don't think we can get through there. Yeah, this looks like a fool's errand to try and break this. Oh, and okay, actually, the Japanese are moving out because they have managed to get across the river. So there might be an opportunity to retake the port. All right, in Sicily, the troops are fully planned, and the tanks have moved on. So we'll have another go at pushing the enemy out of here. But this is going to be a tricky proposition as well. Trying to break this hold here, and in the States, the tanks are moving forward, so let's concentrate the armored spearhead to where it needs to go, and We'll wait for the two. Actually, we're going to send the 5th north potentially, and we'll wait for the 2 tank divisions to arrive before we make any further advances. Here we're waiting for this. The Japanese are moving out of Qinghangdao, so we may be able to. Where am I? Where's my 3rd division? Oh, the 3rd division has moved there. Okay, yes, because the front line's changed. Okay, we don't want that. We want to concentrate all divisions here for a potential assault against the... don't attack yet! They were about to move out. It's very unfortunate, the whole thing. Okay, we've got improved equipment again. So infantry research done. Great. We can start with the SVT rifles, just to get ahead of things there. How are we doing? But we do need also the heavy railway guns. So let's start that research. And that's not that we have the factories to do so, but just for the time being. All right, there might be an opportunity here once the 2nd Cavalry abandons their foolish attempt at breaking this position. There might be an opportunity here to cut off and destroy some Japanese troops, where we have to keep a very close eye on things. Okay, so these troops need to move out. We have arrived in our positions near Milwaukee. So our primary objective, and for that I think we're going to start going across the river south, because that's currently undefended. Our primary objective is to push and take the supply hub in Milwaukee. The problem is that we are running relatively low on ammunition and fuel. So unless we are getting infantry support, we're going to just position for the time being. But the southern going through the south might be the better option, and cutting them off near Milwaukee and then using the 5th to push in the north. Meanwhile, the troops have moved. No, they haven't, but most of them have moved out. Okay, let's see if we can make this work. If we can. Unfortunately, they don't have an awful lot of firepower. They're pretty well dug in. But if we can we, let's launch another assault. Can we break this? This would be, the enemy area superiority is really messing with us here, and obviously we don't have the combat width to do this. Uruguay has joined the Montevideo Treaty, but we might be able to break this if we can break through here and cut off the Japanese. That would be good. That would be a big win, but we will probably need some additional firepower. We'll see if we can break through there. Here we are holding the southern flank. This is okay. We can start moving the tanks. We'll defeat the counterattacks, and then we can either counterattack. We can either launch our own counterattack, or we can just simply begin with the 4th. That might not be a terrible idea. We'll just begin with the 4th and see if the 4th by itself can manage to use the fact that the 3rd West Virginia is now engaged in multiple attacks to break through towards Milwaukee. All right, Sicily. Yeah, this isn't happening. We're not breaking that anytime soon. So let's abandon all hope for now. And see if they can be, unfortunately, as suspected, the Italian Republic has already capitulated, which means the socialists are now significantly strengthened. By we probably would have, our single division probably wouldn't have made much of a difference there. And sponsorship of the intelligentsia has completed. This is great. This is the liberal intelligentsia. 5% stability, 6% research speed, and plus 0.03 daily liberal market liberal support. And that is excellent. So with that spirit, we should now actually have, we've got plus 28. We're going to lose the German economic influence research, but at this point we are, and we are going to, actually we should stay away from industrial research because that's currently debuffed, but we're also going to get, if we can get more members in, that's another question. Then we can do some things here. We don't have the power projection right now to do anything, and I think we don't have the rifles. Yeah, infantry equipment is a bit short. simply because we are training we're training new troops up. How's the resistance looking? Resistance looks pretty good actually, which means we're focusing on reducing, still focusing on reducing it in the north here. Resistance strength, resistance target is 0 actually. We might not need the operatives anymore there. So we may actually be able to start using our operatives for more. Let's see if we can do something in Italy. So let's begin deploying our operatives to Italy. I don't think we need them on counterinsurgency anymore. And see if we can gain some advantages here. And yeah, now of course we've got a few things that need doing. In fact, in 5 days, the taxation of foreign shares is going to be completed, and then we'll see what we pick up next. So we can't spend our political power. But is there anything that gives me political power? Let's have a look. There are. This is just political power gain. Political power gain. I'm looking for something that gives me a straight up political power, but don't really see. That's power projection, which would be useful because it allows us to do a few things. That's political power projection, yeah. And this is still further down. No, I don't think there's anything that gives me straight up political power, unfortunately. So we're gonna have to make do with what we've got. All right. So a few things we could do. Address the people. Don't really need that right now, to be honest. We could reduce it does reduce the right and left wing anger, but the impact is minor, sort of still at this point. We'll keep that in reserve for when things go inevitably sideways. This would give. Okay, this would make we don't need that. We're going to go the democratic curriculum, so we're not going to do that one. We could do the synthetic chemistry, really, but let's see if there's any other option here. We could start inviting the Serbians, Romanians, and Greek towards our side, or we could begin by assembling the bandit states and complete that. We also still have a lot of things to do. Constructing the Wrangel line takes 56 days, so this is giving us a fortification along the front line for free, which is essential. We need to do that. We probably don't need to do that just yet, though. We have, I think, Science to Victory is one that we really need to do, just in order to get but we're not going to be able to afford the theorist anyway. So that's not helping. This is Air Force, which would be great, because we are going to need, we're going to get some research bonuses. Not really going to do anything with the Navy, I believe. That I am not sure what that is doing. Not looking at making an actual treaty with France. It would. It would good. That would actually. Oh, actually, that's a relatively. We would lose some oil for that. But we would get a significant amount of. Consumer good factories until the war breaks out. So probably not that great anymore. I think this one gives 40 political power. Yes, there we go. That's what I was looking for. And power projection, and it allows us to invite or invade some states around the Central Caucasus. So yes. Civil war, which encompassed our nation, allowed the vultures to circle in, and whilst we were weak, the Germans carved out their peace. Not content with the treaty, they established puppet republics in the southern mountains with help of the Turks, completely at the whims and wills of German business. Yeah, we'll kick that out. So that's going to be the next one we do. All right. Back to where we are. All right. Can we break this? And I believe the answer is probably negative, because there are a fair few divisions here that I think we cannot break through, despite the amount of firepower that we have, plus they're counterattacking from the north. So let's abort that attempt and see if we'll hold this position, see if the lines thin out at some point and we get an opportunity for a counterattack. All right, in the Pacific States, we can now join the assault on Madison, and we are also going to begin the push in the north. So all tank divisions are now engaged across the whole lines of contact. In Italy, I think we'll just be holding the line here, to be honest. Are they running out on? Yeah, they're running low on supply. That is a good thing, actually. We might have an opportunity here, but we'll let the divisions recover. Here we just defend and have to keep an eye on the situation eventually. So let's stay in the States and make our way eastwards towards Milwaukee. The war with Finland that was looming hasn't materialized. What is it that we're producing that's outdated? Oh, that's one of the submarines, isn't it? Yeah, that we'll just make one more of them. I haven't looked at the Navy in ages. There should be a few things. Yeah, there are a few submarines that can join and begin exercises again. Everything else is exercising for naval experience. We can... There's relatively little we're going to be doing, let's be honest here, with the Navy. So we'll mostly ignore that. I'm just more concerned about the fuel consumption, really. But we're good on fuel at this point, so I think things are looking brighter. And yeah, these breakthroughs are happening. A quick look at the Chinese situation. Now they've actually more further reinforced. They're attacking from the south now, which is ideal. So if we can defend here against the attacks from the south and then counterattack, that might be an opportunity. You cannot remove one part of an economic system without affecting all other parts. As an example, that was the decision. As an example, German textile dyeing plants in Moscow, operated by BASF, used Central Asian cotton and synthetic dyes imported from their factories in the Rhineland. Now, if severed from BASF's control, supply of dyes collapses and production of dyed clothing in Moscow becomes far less profitable. Oh dear, oh dear. The problem becomes even more pronounced if the lacking resources are, say, German steel or rare earth mineral. I swear, this is purely coincidental that this has absolutely nothing to do with current events. But apparently there is a threat by the Germans to cut us off rare earth minerals. Might have to raise some tariffs against them. And, the funny part is, there is actually... All right, I'm going to quickly step out of the storytelling mode. If you're not aware, what I'm playing at is obviously the trade war between US and China. And funnily enough, in this universe, Russia is sort of, I mean, at least I'm poising it to becoming a world power, like a leading power, coming out of the war as a leading power. So it's kind of the US in this universe. And yes, we're in a trade war, not with China, with Germany, who's threatening to take away rare earth minerals, which is what the Chinese are currently doing as a response to the Americans breaking the economic agreements. And we can actually raise the tariff wall in response to it. That's hilarious. Honestly, yeah. He would need yellow hair and not having a mustache, and probably gain about 50 kilos. But yeah, all right. Back on topic. Not trying to make it political. It's just amazing how these things coincide. Anyway, back on topic here. What were we saying? Yes, fixing these issues takes time and requires some retooling of the industry, but ultimately it merely slows us down. People of Moscow simply have to survive with less colorful clothing. Yeah, I was about to say, oh dear, oh no, I can't buy a red pullover. Economic sanctions generally have the opposite effect of what you're trying to achieve. But let's see what it is. We can't do much about it for percentage stability, or spend 40 political power to make it happen. Okay, now given that, given that, this would change popularity of market liberalism if we import them at a loss, such that people have colorful clothing. Don't necessarily, I'm still striving to get my stability up to 100. But what we can do is do the next stranglehold of German capital focus for now. Let's see what we got. We've got 90 days. I think they're all 90 days. Yeah, they're all 90 days. Okay, we can't raise the tariff wall yet because that's going to cost us too much in terms of stability. We could acquire shares through holding companies. This would reduce it by 1, costs 50, and takes 90 days, but doesn't have any benefit other than that. This gives us naval dockyards, which is really not that interesting. We could acquire the Buchhaltungs- und Kreditbank. Unfortunately, that costs 80, which we don't have, and costs us 8% consumer goods factories, which is expensive. We could do this, which gives us a potential industrial concern for railway construction speed, which, despite the fact that we have to build railway, I'm probably not going to get. National Mineral and Extraction Law, this is going to give us additional decisions to build up some materials, but I think this is energy autarky is probably a good one. Or this one, which allows us to get additional oil in Kazan and Chechnya. And additionally, and it improves Vostokneft, which I'm not sure I am considering. But that nationalization of Rusgenecorp is, I think, what we're going with. Yep. All right. So that's happening. Which means that is going to take 90 days, which means we can actually spend the political power now to make sure people have colorful clothing and don't get upset with the emperor. And in return, we're going negative with political power, but we're going to get 90 political power until we're going to be back here again. So we can take this improvement in market liberalism because I think these were mutually exclusive. Okay, so but it actually improves our political power gain. That's what I'm saying. So this is a sort of investment because we are getting additional political power gain as well from that. Okay, we're importing them at a loss, and that in return gets our party popularity up to 39%, which is 0.39 political power gain. So 0.04 political power gain permanently is pretty good, I think. And yep, that has boosted that to 1.17 per day. All right, so on the Chinese front, we are pretty stuck. We might be able to counterattack. Here we are making our way towards Milwaukee, and in Sicily we're stuck as well. Although these troops, they did have supply problems at some point. Let's see if we can launch another counterattack. They don't seem to be engaged though. Let's give a quick try and see if we can launch another counterattack on these. They are running a little low on supply, so we might be able to wear them down eventually, but I doubt that we can actually break through there. So yeah, that's not really happening. Okay, we'll have to look for opportunities. Here we are through towards the Great Lakes. Now we could swoop north, but I'm more interested to drive straight to the capital. Now the 4th is coming under counterattack, so the 4th is going to have to defend, but we have the 5th coming in east to take Milwaukee, and then from there on we can pretty much straight make our way towards Chicago. Now, can the 4th hold by itself against the enemy attack? The problem is the supply situation, but once we take Milwaukee, that hopefully, and then Madison, that hopefully improves that. Alternatively, we could drive straight to Chicago, but I think we're going to help with taking Madison first. We can't encircle them because they can escape here, but then from there on out, yeah, we'll help with. We might be getting cut off here otherwise, so we'll help with the attack on Madison, and then hopefully from here on out we can then drive to Chicago. All right, last thing we're going to be doing for today, while we have made great progress towards the enemy capital and not much progress elsewhere, we are getting actually counterattacked now. So there may be an opportunity here for a counterattack. Let's quick look at China. That attack is still running, so we're still on the defense here. We might actually just have to defend for a while, to be completely honest, with these troops. But yeah, we have a final decision to make, and I'm going to clean this up in the north because we're no longer invading Finland. The laws of the Russian Democratic Federative Republic were socially progressive, or one could say morally apathetic. Better fit to the nightlife of Paris than to the Russian village. Yeah, that tends to happen if you let the liberal left run too loose. And the opposite happens as well if you do it on the extreme right. But they failed to criminalize... Oh my gosh. Why is this once again so relevant? They failed to criminalize a number of morally dubious practices like homosexuality. Wouldn't call that morally dubious. Contraception, I would say that's fine as well. And easy divorces, that we can debate about. And additionally, weakened the family as a basic unit of society by instead focusing on individualism. Yeah, individualism. Now, don't get me started on that. The new law that has come on the desk of Kirill I would rewrite these laws so they conform to more moral and Christian values. So that's the conservative side of things. Banning degenerate behavior and putting the family in the place where it belongs at the forefront of society. So yeah, pretty much right-wing. Additionally, they would include natalist practices such as progressively greater tax benefits to families with a larger number of children. That, again, is a really current problem, because if you look at the birth rates pretty much across the world, we are having problems. We are dying out. And look into demographic impact on economics, and you'll get scared. Anyway, the law has been strongly lobbied for by the church, especially, calling it a step back in the right direction. We could sign it, which would reduce right-wing anger, or we could spend political power to drop it. Now, I don't have political power. This is going to unfortunately reduce our party popularity again, but it's also going to appease the right. And but the question is, at this point, a moral one. What is the Russian Empire? Is it going to be a liberal democracy? And a liberal democracy also means, certain freedoms that not everybody might agree with. So signing the law would push us further to the right. Dropping it would cost us political power, which we don't really have. However, we still got 88 days, so it's still just about enough to do another decision on the German capital. And I feel like it just fits better. It just fits better to stay on the sort of liberal left direction that we've taken so far, because we've clearly... We've taken a few centrists, but so we're taking the centrist approach here, but we're taking a liberal left-leaning approach overall, more democratic freedoms rather than the other direction. So no, we're dropping that and spending the political power. And we're keeping our party popularity up, the market liberal side. So democracy sometimes comes at pains. Anyway, that's it for today. I will see you all in the next episode where, again, probably the only direction we're making any progress at the moment is in the States. And the big question is, what happens once we take Chicago?